We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. Do not forget to ring the notification bell if you want to support this independent national college football YouTube Rebels Outpost with a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Just hit that $sign where you make your comment and I will get you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. All of this is embarrassing. The title of the show, Big Ten and the SEC still not in support of the Protect the College Sports Act. Now I get it. For a lot of you, the Southeastern Conference is the evil empire. For a lot of you, the Big Ten is the evil empire. But you know, the Big Ten and the SEC were not even invited to the table to produce this bill until since the last couple of weeks. when Cruz and Cantwell and everybody else found out that they were not going to be able to pass this bill without the Big Ten and SEC support. And still, up until last night, now I don't know what happened this morning, but up until last night, according to the reporting of CBS Sports, the Big Ten Commissioner, Tony Petitti's like, I don't know where this 19 came from, this membership cap. Conference membership cap at 19, which, again, I get it. The Big Ten is the evil empire. But that is the most ridiculous part about all of this. Think about this for a moment. If this bill passed how it was written, in a couple of years from now, 2 to 3 years from now, let's say the ACC is on a roll. Let's say the Miami Hurricanes win the national championship this year. Let's say Clemson does it the next year. Let's say the ACC network continues to flourish. The Big 12 is declining in ratings. And then we get up to the end of the Big 12 grant of rights. And again, we're pretending that this bill passed as written. The ACC sitting there going, my goodness, everything is going great. Our TV ratings are going up. Our football is going up. We won the last couple of national championships. Everything's going great. SMU is threatening to win a national championship. But you know what? The one thing that is not working too well for the ACC is that we're at 17 members. We would like to get to 18 members. A lot of complaints about, one team having 8 conference games, all the other having 9 conference games. It's already affected one of our conference races. It's a little clunky. We would like to go to 18 members of our conference. Let's see now. Who is available out there? Not West Virginia. Not Utah. Not Kansas. None of the Big 12 schools are. None of them. None of them are available to jump from the Big 12 to the ACC. None of them can practice their freedom of association. But, Tulane can make the jump. Memphis can make the jump. Washington State can make the jump. I'm going to be honest with you. Ted Cruz does not get a pass with me at all. I think he has been absolutely horrendous. Cody Campbell, he's done a lot of damage. Cody Campbell has done an extraordinary amount of damage. Maria Cantwell? No. You don't get no pass. You don't get no pass from the fat guy in Minnesota. I watch you perform in the in that subcommittee. This is a travesty. All of this is a travesty. Why do we have such a large bill covering things that nobody asked for from the beginning? Nobody did. Because of Cody Campbell. Now, here we are. It is Thursday evening. The Big Ten did not vote on it. They had their meeting. The Big Ten presidents got together, and they didn't even vote on it. It does not have the Big Ten and SEC support. There is no... The cap. I know there's been a lot of discussion around the cap. If a loophole has been closed yet or not. And the people that I've talked with, and again, open transparency. When it comes to this subject at hand, most of the people that I've talked with is chatter behind the curtain local, chatter behind the curtain national, and a lot of people with Big Ten interest that I'm not going to classify. It's a hodgepodge of a lot of different people. Even if you did close, even if you got the hard cap, even if the Big Ten and the SEC got everything they want, and they do want a hard cap, they do not want the third-party entities coming around and blowing up the hard. Well, at least that's what they're saying. Even if they got everything they wanted, this bill does not solve the issue, because the bill is not set up to act quickly. It's not nimble. It's not going to be able to act upon the landscape of what it's going to look like 2 years from now, 3 years from now. This ain't going to work. And I think the Big Ten and the SEC know it. The deadline has been pushed once again, supposedly till Monday. It could happen Monday. But again, do you honestly believe that this is going to be supported by the Big Ten and the SEC come Monday? Can you imagine? Can you imagine this bill passing? Now, look, it is quite obvious to me. Now, tell me I'm wrong. It's okay. Let me know how wrong I got it in the chat room. Give me a call later on. Let me know how wrong I got it. But let me show you guys something. If you missed it, we covered this on episode 516 earlier this morning. I just want to show you guys this, okay? I just want to focus on this. This is late night, and I know some of you have seen this, some of you have not. This is CBS Sports late night reporting. Brandon Marcello. One of the bill's more peculiar provisions, the 19-team conference membership cap, has drawn quite bewilderment from the very commissioner it most directly affects. Yeah, the Big Ten. The Big Ten currently has 18 members. The bill would allow covered conferences to grow to 19. To many, that reads almost universally as a reserved space for Notre Dame. Republicans pushed to move that number to 20. But negotiations resulted in 19. What negotiations? What negotiations? Republicans pushed the move to that number to 20, but negotiations resulted in 19, sources told CBS Sports. Petiti said he has not yet received a satisfactory answer as to why the number was set at 19, which would allow the Big Ten in the future to add only one member, while the SEC could add 3 more. I've asked that question, Petiti told CBS Sports. I don't understand 19. Now, this negotiation, they weren't negotiating with Petiti. They were not negotiating with Petiti. He can't get a satisfactory answer, and they have not moved that number. Think about it. They have not moved that number. This is Ross Dellinger's reporting early afternoon. New in the Senate bill. Multimedia rights NIL deals count in cap unless the MMR third-party school provides a signed certification that the school is not the source of the compensation. Retention pool moves from $20 million to $22.5 million. $5 million women athlete pool extended to all non-rev share sports. Tampering prohibition. Now get a load of this. The expansion provision remains mostly unchanged. Power League membership is capped at 19 schools. Schools moving from one Power League to another are required to operate as an independent for 5 years. Notre Dame, Independence, G6 programs can freely join Power Leagues. I want to focus on that last part. Notre Dame, Independence, that's Notre Dame and UConn, G6 programs, that is Tulane, that is South Florida, that is Memphis, that is Boise State, that is San Diego State. Can freely join Power Leagues. Freely. As they've got more freedom than you, Florida State. They got more freedom than you, Clemson. They got more freedom than you, Miami. They've got more freedom than you, Utah, Kansas, West Virginia, Louisville, Virginia Tech. That is unbelievable. That is no way could that even hold up in the courts. Think about that. Notre Dame and UConn and the G6 programs can freely join Power Leagues. So it is 5:55 p.m. Eastern Time on a Thursday, July 30th. And Cantwell and Cruz won't get out that number 19. Why did they go to 19? that simply targets more the Big Ten than anybody else. It does. There's no way that the Big Ten is going to support this crap. How do you expect the Big Ten is being targeted more than ever in this bill? Now, I saw there's reporting this afternoon that the Big Ten and the SEC proposed the 19 membership cap. No, they did not. This is a pure power move by Cody Campbell, using the government, not freedom of association, the government, to do his bidding. Petiti spent time during the I am going to let's get to Noah Berman here. $2 holla. Thank you for the super chat, Noah Berman. Appreciate it. Silos, here we come. Miami, Notre Dame, Virginia, Utah to the Big Ten. Thank you for the $2 holla, Noah Berman. I appreciate your generosity helping us kick it off this evening, this early evening, July 30th. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you for your generosity. So they're not going out that number. The Republicans, according to Ross Dellinger, according to CBS Sports, proposed the 20 cap number. Petiti can't get an answer on why it is number 19, and that more directly targets the Big Ten than any other conference. If this bill would pass, the moment that this bill would pass, I think you would have a flood of court cases from a handful of universities. Because some schools, some universities are having their freedom of association limited. Some schools are not having their freedom of association limited. You better give them a good reason why that is. There is no good reason why that is. Nothing that stands on principle. Maria Cantwell. Nothing that stands on principle, Ted Cruz. Nothing that stands on principle, Cody Campbell. We needed an antitrust exemption. Even Josh Whitman, the Illinois athletic director, says if we go into our silo, I'm paraphrasing, if we go it alone and we enforce some of our own rules, try to make that work, and it's going to be very difficult, it's more like a stopgap measure. We needed something to get done now. We can't keep kicking the can down the road. And here we are. We're about to kick the can down the road. Because Campbell, Cruz, and Cantwell decided to target the SEC and the Big Ten. Because they were not trying to protect the college sports. They were trying to make it all equality. You spend all of this time on media rights. We gotta share the media rights together. And I'm sitting here going every single day, We got all these different streams of buckets of money happening. And you're targeting one revenue stream, media money. You're not going to equalize nothing by bundling everybody together. It's a hopeless enterprise. Have you looked? Has anybody noticed the jersey patch deals that are happening? Did you see what the Buckeyes did? Did you see what the Fighting Irish did? What are you going to do? You're going to try to pass a bill next, Cody Campbell, that equalizes the jersey patch deals? Come on, man. This whole effort has been based up upon grievances. Grievances. The inequality of it all. You're not... This was time that could not be wasted. And we wasted it. We absolutely wasted it. The SCORE Act that was supported by the Big Ten and the SEC. You should not have included in that SCORE Act the language that said that the student athletes could not be, never be employees. That language should not have been in there. And now, a lot of damage has been done. I see it every day. I see it every day on X. Well, we'll just regroup and try this next year. We'll have different leadership, probably different presidents, maybe a different commissioner in the mix. New leadership on Congress and House and the Senate. Okay, so I spent months and months and months being the Paul Revere, the fat guy from Minnesota, on a horse. Somehow that horse carried me. And I was declaring DEFCON 1. We are in danger. Nobody trusts anybody. Everybody's thinking, the SCC's thinking about a break where there's silos. We talked about all the different type of possible silos that could happen. And now I'm going to warn everybody the following. If and when this bill eventually completely dies, and right now it's on its deathbed, it barely has a pulse. When this bill dies, there's going to be this kumbaya again. We'll just have to work out the compromises. The 4 conferences are going to have to get together. The Big 12, the ACC, the SEC, the Big 10. Don't you know, Greg? Don't you know that Sankey and Petiti get along great? They're calling each other all the time. Very professional. Phillips is highly respected. Yormark can get along with anybody. Greg, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Everybody, we're just going to work together. We're going to work on the compromises. We're going to work with Kessler, the lawyer, the judge, on the House settlement, and everything is going to be all right. Everything is going to be all right. And my answer to you would be, how in the heck how can you believe that? This is the uncomfortable truth. The uncomfortable truth is the following. The Big 12 and the ACC have a whole different worldview than the SEC and the Big 10. These four conferences have split wide open. The Big 12 supports this bill tonight. They supported it last week. They supported it last month. The ACC commissioner and most of the schools support this bill tonight. They supported it last week. They supported it last month. The Big 10 tonight, they said, you got to be kidding me. Last week, they said, you got to be kidding me. A month ago, they said, you got to be kidding me. The Southeastern Conference, they're gearing up for something different. And it might start slow. It might start with the green verde sauce. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Ross Dellinger, the ACC presidents did not take a formal vote on the Senate bill during their meeting today, sources tell Yahoo Sports. While there is a wide support in the league for the bill, several members are opposed because of the expansion provision. The expansion provision caps conferences at 19 members and requires schools moving from one power league to another to operate as an independent for 5 years. There it is. Ross Dellinger. You can't blame those ACC schools. Why would they support it? Why would they give the ability for Notre Dame to move freely and they can't? It's the most, think about it. I know, look, we all come from different parts of the country. Some of us root for the top level teams. Some of us root for G6 programs. Some of us root for the bottom dwellers of the big major conferences. Some of us, like myself, root for a team that's really in the middle, that is punching above its weight, that always knows they're not going to be equal with the most of the teams that they play with. We all come from different parts. We've all walked in different shoes. I get it. But think about it. How can you have a federal bill that gives Notre Dame all the freedom they could possibly want, and you're not giving Florida State the freedom, the Clemson the freedom, the Miami the freedom? Just that alone, you can't. I don't know how anybody could possibly write a bill saying this. That's why, look, I'm not trying to get political here. if I did get political, I would get every single one of you upset, because I would rip on these two political parties like I rip on all your football teams, including mine. How can anybody write this in a bill? How can Ted Cruz do this? How can Maria Cantwell do this? You could get this bill passed. Of course, of course, thank goodness Ross Dellinger reported it. Of course they're not going to support it. They've been raising money. They've been working on their football stadiums. They've been working on their brands for 20 years. Two of the schools went to court. And you're going to make them do this 5-year provision? 5 years of being an independent football? What are you, nuts? It doesn't, it's literally, somebody in the chat during my episode that I made earlier today, this morning, said I should not fault Notre Dame. It's not Notre Dame that's right in the bill. You're absolutely correct. I'm not faulting Notre Dame. I'm just making it clear. This is Notre Dame's ultimate dream. It keeps everybody in place but them. This is perverted. It keeps Miami where they are. It keeps Florida State where they are. North Carolina already has enough problems. It keeps them where they are. Clemson, Duke, Virginia Tech, all of them. All of them. It keeps Kansas. It keeps Utah. It keeps Colorado. It keeps Stanford in California. It keeps them all in place except for Notre Dame. I'm not blaming Notre Dame. I'm just being clear what this does. How can anybody be for this bill? How could anybody expect this bill to pass? That's what I should have said. At the end of the day, and I'm going to be blunt. At the end of the day, if this bill passed the way it was written, the Southeastern Conference is going to be just fine. The Big Ten is going to be just fine. Now, they believe they're going to be finer if they have control of their conference membership. They could possibly expand in the next 5 years, but they're going to be fine regardless. But there's a whole batch of schools out there that have been working on trying to get the higher ground. And I'm not just talking about those ACC schools or some of the Big 12 schools. I'm talking about American schools. I'm talking about a couple of Pac-12 schools. I'm talking about, UConn. John Grove, $5 holler. Let me get caught up on the super chats. Yeah, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. John Grove, $5 holler. Notre Dame informed the ACC that it was supportive of the bill as both a member of the ACC, and an independent in football per Dellinger. Well, of course they are. Thank you, John Grove. This bill that Cody Campbell has written for everybody, along with Cruz and Cantwell, this bill is Notre Dame's ultimate dream. It can't get any better for Notre Dame, and it could not get any worse for Clemson and Florida State. Think about this. Clemson and Florida State went to the courts and won and got an ACC settlement. Notre Dame sued. Notre Dame voted for the ACC to sue Notre Dame, to sue Clemson and Florida State. Notre Dame got the ACC to expand. Florida State and Clemson were against the expansion. Notre Dame wanted and needed Florida State and Clemson to have a scheduling agreement with Notre Dame, and Notre Dame pulled it off. I'm telling you, Notre Dame is drinking everybody's milkshake. This is the ultimate milkshake. It's unbelievable. And here, okay, let me go through Ross Dillinger's reporting. I'll get back to the super chats. I do apologize. Ross Dillinger, the SEC presidents did not take a formal vote on Thursday. Okay? As a meeting today, the Big 12 presidents and chancellors reaffirmed their support of the Senate bill, but the league is suggesting clarifying language related to associated entity provision in the legislation. Notre Dame informed the ACC that it was supportive of the bill as both a member of the ACC and independent. And the ACC presidents, several members are opposed because of the expansion provision. Now, it would be great if we could find out who among those ACC schools did not like the no, basically cap at 19, no expansion provision. I got a feeling we know lots of those programs. This is truly unbelievable. John Grove, thank you for the $2 holler. I appreciate it. The SEC didn't vote the Big 12 in favor of it per Dellinger. Yep. Thank you, John Grove. Thank you very much. No, man. From the start, Cantwell set out to make sure that the schools that have no chance at P2 will not suffer like Washington State and Oregon State did in the PATC. This will essentially keep the ACC and the Big 12 intact forever. Skaven, yes, says, wow, I bet those programs are North Carolina, Miami, Clemson, Florida State, Virginia Tech, and Virginia. I got a feeling that Duke is one of those programs as well. Something is going on with YouTube. OBD done. The SEC did not vote on the deal either today. Correct? Let me see. Let me X out of this here. Definitely having problems with the chat room. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Let me see if I can clean this up. Morris Simmons, Greg, but everyone has an attitude toward Florida State. We were justified in going to court and revealing the ACC and Notre Dame. Keeps getting disconnected. Yeah. Hopefully we've cleared it up. We'll find out. Definitely something going on with the chat. Okay, so before we go on to more of your super chats, and before we go on to more of this this unbelievable news that the moronic way that this bill has been pushed, what has been added to this bill that has nothing to do with what the conferences are trying to accomplish. However, we are going to take a little bit of a break here. And you guessed it, because this is a big time event going on here, the PCSA, we at Peek Around the Corner present to you another PATC rendition. Miley Cyrus and Flugar Flowers. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We were good, we were gold, kind of dream that can't be sold. We were right till we weren't. Build a home and watched it burn. I don't want to leave you, I don't want to lie. Started to cry, but then remembered I can buy myself flowers, write my name in the sand, talk to myself for hours, say things you just don't understand. I can take myself dancing and can hold my own hand. Yeah, I can love me better than you can. Love me better, I can love me better, baby. Can love me better, I can love me better, baby. Paint my nails cherry red, match the roses that you left. No remorse, no regret, I forgive every word you said. I don't want to leave you, I don't want to fight. Started to cry, but then remembered I can buy myself flowers, write my name in the sand, talk to myself for hours, say things you just don't understand. Take myself dancing, can hold my own hand. Yeah, I can love me better than you can. Love me better, I can love me better, baby. Can love me better, I can love me better, baby. Can love me better, I can love me better, baby. Can love me better, I can love me better, baby. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Miley Cyrus, Flowers. We had to do it. I mean, look at the big epic event that's going on right here. The possible death of the Protect the College Sports Act. Flowers, Miley Cyrus. Go check her out. Go check out her song. Beautiful song a couple of years ago. But anyways, I like my version. That's the only version I could figure out how to do it that way. Anyways, appreciate everybody. Again, our chat room keeps getting disconnected. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate it. There it is. There it is. Rock and Rant has got a solution. It's things like this that we could use, Greg. Put in the room with the commissioners and Cantwell, Cruz singing until they settle. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Very difficult song to sing. Greg's Pet Torment Hour. My dog just started howling. Bruce is not a fan. Absolutely not a fan. My cats are having seizures. Sunflowers just died. All right, we are gonna, let me check out if there's any more breaking news on this. In Tennessee, Danny White on the Protect the College Sports Act. I think it's another example of why we shouldn't be asking Congress to solve a problem that we could solve ourselves. Charlie Baker of the NCAA is imploring everybody, begging everybody to support the bill. Okay, we are going to go to your phone calls here. We're going to go to your phone calls. We're not going to waste any more time. You guys suffered through the singing of flowers. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Let me know what you're thinking. Again, I apologize for the chat being disconnected, going back and forth. Not much I can do about it at this point. Not much we can do about it. Everything else seems to be working. So.
Call from
William.
William, thanks for calling. I appreciate it. The floor is yours.
What a crazy day, Greg.
Yes.
It seems like that nobody wants to budge, and it's just going to keep on going. But
yep.
I wanted to make some comments. A couple of things. There's been questions on with the teams joining the SEC. And I will say this is my opinion. North Carolina and whoever is the second, whether it's Virginia or a NC State, they don't need anybody to grease their skids. We have to remember that Texas and Oklahoma are still not part of the SEC's media contracts. That's all a ton of extra money that the SEC is going to get from ESPN the moment that they get included. Getting UNC and getting the basketball addresses a big part of that gap, which I think is one of the reasons why is they did put that 19-team cap. I don't think the SEC would lose much sleep. From the SEC's perspective, they get to expand their region, whether one or two states, right? They cap the Big Ten. The Big Ten can't go into Florida. The Big Ten can't take Atlanta. They can't go into North Carolina. They know at that point, all the Big Ten is going to do is hope and wait that Notre Dame comes in. So to tell the truth, the SEC is probably loving that 19-team cap. Now, would it make it harder to get a UNC if you cap it? Probably, because at that point, maybe UNC is thinking, well, if we wait until 2036, at that point, we'll get a new contract. FSU, Miami, and Clemson are still in our league, and we can still control everything from North Carolina. But in any case, I don't know that there's much sleep being lost by the SEC with the cap. But it definitely destroys the Big Ten's desire to go into the South, which I think that's one of the reasons why they just can't support it. And hey, to your point, from Notre Dame's perspective, in the future, if things go south in the ACC and they need to join, guess what? They can do it at any time they want. It's crazy how Notre Dame can somehow find a way to get their name into bills of this magnitude, to give them exceptions. And, I mean, it just clearly shows that people are getting paid off just to push their agendas. And I mean, pretty much at the end of the day, just wanted to give my opinions with regards to that.
All right. I appreciate it. I'll make a comment. I appreciate it. Great call, sir.
Yep. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Greg.
Absolutely. Great job, William.
From
Mohr Simmons.
Morris Simmons, can you hold on for just a moment, please?
Yes.
I appreciate it. I just wanted to make a comment about Williams' call. I understand that the membership cap, conference membership cap at 19 is more directly at the Big Ten than the SEC. But I don't think the Southeastern Conference is in favor of that number either. I just out of freedom of association, if the Southeastern Conference wanted to go to 20 at some point, I think the Southeastern Conference believes that they should be able to go to 20 if they can make it work with their partners, media partners, or institutions, and if there's candidates out there that they want. I don't think the Southeastern Conference is in favor of it either. But I understand that it may be not as much of a threat to them as it is to the Big Ten. And again, this has a massive ripple effect, this 19. I mean, if that really came into being with that 5-year provision of independence, there'd be a lot of schools that would be more greatly affected than the Big Ten. The Big Ten would not be the ultimate victim in that. And I think you are, and with the ACC, that news that came out with Ross Dellinger, some schools not supporting the bill because of the expansion provision, I think that's basically all the evidence you need that some ACC schools have been talking with the SEC and the Big Ten. And I'm also going to say this. If it was just ACC schools talking with the Southeastern Conference, if it was only 3 SEC schools talking to the Southeastern Conference, then you would not have that pushback. But obviously that is not the reality that's going on here. There's been more than 3 ACC schools talking with the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten all these many, many months. And the talks have been elevated here in the last couple of months. Morris Simmons, thank you for your patience. The floor is yours.
Yes, Greg. Thank you.
Yep.
The previous caller, now I really I disagree with his assessment on North Carolina and whoever, Virginia or NC State, that come with North Carolina for its greasing and will and that. Now, granted, yes, Is that a new market? North Carolina, yes. But you still you're not gonna just let Florida State sit out there. You're not gonna let Miami sit out there. Them schools are much bigger than North Carolina. Also, for as eyeballs, they draw more than North Carolina. Keep in mind, North Carolina I think, is the ninth largest state. Florida is the third largest state. Okay? And North Carolina football haven't been hitting on deadly in a long time. I think ever since they had Lawrence Taylor, I think. So my thing is this: get off that and get off the North Carolina bandwagon because they did enough already with Belichick. Now, my thing is this: for as this 19. Neither conference don't want that. The Big Ten or the SEC. So I agree with your assessment on that. This will get challenged in the court in a heartbeat because it limits the freedom of association. And like I keep saying, Florida State, Clemson, we did not go to court for nothing. We didn't spend all that money for nothing. Oh no. Now, at any time, yes, we can't sue our way into the Big Ten or the SEC. But also keep in mind, there is a provision in there where we could go ahead and strike out on our own. And a lot of people still looking at that. And if we strike out on our own and go that way, who to say? We just say, okay, we get with a private equity firm and let's do what we got to do. If we got to bust this up, let's bust it up. Because right now, this is not fair to us. And like I said, you got a lot of bottom-feeding schools that's hating because they want to get into the P2, and the way to prevent Florida State, Miami, Clemson, and the big brands from moving out, because they know these are the last of the big brands. So if the big brands go, then everything else just goes to the wayside. So what they try and do is, well, we got to slow down Florida State, Miami, Clemson from getting out of the ACC. If we keep them in the ACC some kind of way, the ACC is survivable. Yeah, the ACC will be survivable, yes, but it ain't going to help Florida State. It's not going to help Clemson. It's definitely ain't going to help Miami. So that's a loss to us, a major loss. So people have to look at this and be logical. And also, with everything that's being exposed about Notre Dame right now to the Big Ten, even if they did not know or if they was willing to swallow it with Notre Dame, to stop chasing Notre Dame and do what you got to do. You ain't got to chase Notre Dame. If you just make moves, they're going to jump. Stop chasing Notre Dame. Every time if you chase behind Notre Dame, it shows desperation. They're going to jump. They're not going into the SEC. Trust me. They're going to come to the Big Ten. I never could understand why the Big Ten looks at from a position of weakness. They're trying to chase a girl that's not interested. Stop chasing. She gonna come around when she come around.
I think that's a Midwest
thing,
thing, Morris.
On the table. No, I didn't hear you.
I think that's a Midwest thing. Us Midwest guys, we chase after things we never get. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I'm just simply saying, when the girl don't have no option, she's gonna go where she's supposed to have went in the first place.
Yeah,
it's no reason to chase. You got programs right now knocking on your door, wanting to come in. You got another program. Every time you try to talk to her, she says no. Do it make sense? How long this been going on? This been going on for decades. So why not just look at the Miami? Why not look at Florida State? The truth of the matter, At one point last year, I said Florida State Miami would have been the golden ticket for the Big Ten. But for whatever reason, it's a different metrics that the Big Ten go by. But that's all I got to say, Greg.
All right, man. I appreciate him, Mr.
Okay.
Simmons. Beautiful call, sir.
Okay.
Love it. Morris is letting everybody know where he sits, where he stands. Let's hear from anybody else here. PATC 763-260-1333.
Call from
Tazbo.
I'm sorry, did not get the name.
Tazbo.
Oh, Tazbo. Thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate it. The floor is yours.
Hey, buddy. I want to apologize. The other day I tried to call it. I was having all kind of phone issues, kept cutting off on me and getting feedback. And
No problem.
anyway, hey, listen. I would still like to float this idea, see what you think of it. Maybe. See, I don't know why this can't be a win-win situation. I think it's healthy that if we limit the size of the conferences, I think 20 is a much better number than 19. I don't know where 19 came from. You can't even schedule with 19. But that being said, and I like the 5 years, but not independence. Why can't we have something written in the law that you have every school out there has 5 years to petition different leagues can petition schools, just like the Big 12 did when they shopped around a few years ago and they put out, and all the schools got to present a bid to the Big 12 why they would be good for the conference. Let all the schools do that, to the SEC, the Big 10. Let them make intelligent conversations. Give them 5 years where they can talk openly. They don't have to go behind doors and hot bubbles of action and everything. This is all out in the open. Let everybody talk about it, and let them make intelligent decisions. Let the Big 10 and the SEC make intelligent decisions. Let the schools put out there what they can bring to the conference and what they can't, and then the media partners can get involved. They can see, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
By in 5 years, 2031, all the media deals will come and due. Everybody know where everybody's going to be at, and then lock it in place. When that's done, when that 5-year portal window for schools is done, it's done. And then at that point, if they want to put in some kind of regulation or something, 5 years independent, some idiotic thing they're talking about, whatever. But why can't we have a 5-year portal window for all the schools and all the conferences to find out where everybody wants to be and where they're going to be and who's willing to put up and shut up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yep. Now, I personally, you know how I am. I would never support the idea of, now, year 2031, this is where it has to be for the next 20 years. You know I would not support that. But a lot of people probably would support what you're saying, Tazbo. So I'm probably in the minority.
I think it's a compromise. I think that would be a healthy compromise for the country as a whole. And right now you're getting a smash and grab. People are just, it's hit and miss. Everybody's trying to position, and it doesn't make logical sense to me why we have to have this smash and grab when we have enough. There's nothing out there that says we have to do this tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
We have to don't get me wrong. We have to set up the bylaws that can be enforceable. That has to get done. Mm-hmm. But the conference expansion and where everybody's going, we don't have to do that today. We can do that. We can do that in 5 years from now.
And I think the Big Ten and the SEC would rather not do it today. But if they are afraid of another government effort in the next year, and they are afraid that the next government effort is going to have a cap number of 19 once again, or a cap number of 18, that might push the Big Ten and the SEC to act quicker. That might put them in a position to do the quick strike. I don't know. I'm not going to do.
Give everybody 5 years. Give everybody 5 years to figure. Once 5 years is up, and then you lock it in for 10 years or 20 years or whatever, and then at that point they reevaluate.
But we may not have 5 years. In other words, the government might step in next year with things that the Big Ten and the SEC do not want, like a cap number of 18. And also,
No, that's what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
When they pass this law,
They're not going
when
to
they
pass
set
this
up
law.
if they would have it
Okay.
written into the law that they have 5 years that they can, without consequence, openly talk to conferences, can talk to teams, and teams can talk to conferences, and there won't be any lawsuits. You know what I'm saying? You got a 5-year portal window. And after that I have all that already written out in stone. Have the law passed, the president signed it, and it's done. And in 5 years, it locks in place. That's my idea.
Okay. All right.
That way, the media partners can make a good decision. The conferences can make a good decision. The schools can put up their best foot forward. They can say, "I got this AAU, plan. I can be AAU in 5 years." Yada yada. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
All right. That's all I got.
All right, man. Tazball, beautiful
Thank
call,
you, brother.
sir. Appreciate it. Call again, my man.
Yes, sir. Love you. Take care,
Yeah.
brother.
All right.
Call from
Christopher Hooter.
Christopher Hooter, Mr. Purple and Gold. The floor is yours. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. You can hear the frustration and the power two, the ones aspiring to the power two, right? And I really don't blame them, right?
We got breaking news. Breaking news. Hold on, Christopher.
Yep.
Not really breaking news, but a clarification. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Ross Dellinger is making it a little bit more clear tonight. Very important news. To be clear, a small group of ACC members express opposition to the bill. The league is overwhelmingly supportive of the Senate bill. A small group of ACC members. So the question that I have for PATC Einsteins out there. Small group. Small group. What number is that? Out of 17 members, what constitutes a small group? Does that mean 6? Does that mean 4? It means more than 2. I think it means more than 3. Could we be looking at 4? Marie Derrick says 5. Notorious Sun Devil says 6. Now 6 is almost 1/3. No, it is 1/3. It's a little bit more than 1/3. Is 6 too big to be constituted as a small number? Keep putting down your ideas in the chat room. Christopher Hooter, thank you for your patience. I apologize for that. The floor is yours.
Well, I think if I'm North Carolina, I don't care. Maybe I support the bill just to be a good teammate, right?
You might have to support the bill anyway,
right?
Because,
That's right. I'm going to support it anyway. Hey, I'm helping you guys out. I'm on your team, right? We're all cooperating together. So I think UNC's probably okay with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, Florida State's not going to be, and Clemson's certainly not going to be. But, so, I don't, maybe 4 or 5. Miami's probably not. But, yeah, but, it's not surprising, right? If I'm Greg Sankey right now, maybe I just sit back and say, we do like North Carolina. We take one for the team right now. We don't like this bill, but okay, we'll support it. It's not going to pass anyway.
Yeah.
So you can play good cop.
Yeah.
Let the Big Ten wear the lasso for a while, right? Let them take all the arrows, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to support it. So that would be my 2 cents. And your first caller there, I'm totally on board with him. It's the SEC. They use the system to kind of block out the Big Ten from the Southeast. You're not coming in here, buddy. Don't blame me. Blame Congress.
I really truly do not believe the SEC favors that 19.
Well, I don't either, but sometimes they do not hate it as much as the Big Ten.
Well, unfortunately, you are as hated as much as the Big Ten.
No, I mean, they don't hate 19. They don't hate 19 as much as the Big Ten.
Sure, I'm sure they don't, but I think they kind of do. But go ahead.
Well, to be fair now, in the last round of expansion, the SEC took a little scoop from the Big 12, i.e. the biggest program.
Yeah.
And the Big Ten took a big scoop from the Pac-12.
Yeah.
More or less at the same time, more or less. Okay? So I guess when they're justifying the 19, they can say to the Big Ten, well, you took 4, we only took 2. What do you want, right? So anyway, But, the lawsuits are going to fly if this thing passes. Call me skeptical. I'd bet the house against it. Anyway, man, great program, okay?
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you very much,
See you,
sir.
buddy.
Christopher Hooter,
Bye.
appreciate it. Oh, I was just getting to the phone call. Call again. 931, give us another call. 931, I was just getting to your phone call.
Call from
Dave in Tampa.
Dave from Tampa?
Yes.
I appreciate it. Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
Well, first off, I'd like to say that Mr. Simmons is correct. When the Big Ten needs to quit chasing Notre Dame, you know what? The heck with them. They want to play their games. Go ahead. And you know what? Leave them out. Leave them out. They want to play those games. Go ahead. Bye. We're done. We're done courting you. We're done. You're not that hot anyways. And there's just as pretty other girls at the dance than Notre Dame stuck on herself. And that's all I got to say about that. And as far as this bill is concerned, guys, I'm going to say this again. Okay? You're being used. You're being used as a political tool to not give the president something that he wants voted on. That's why they keep doing the next thing they'll come out with will be more ridiculous than the thing that they have now. That's what we've been dealing with. All right? You're being used. You're being gaslit. And this is going to go through all the way till election time. And then after election time, I tell you what, I'm not going to be surprised if they drop this thing like a hot potato. Once they get through the elections, and these guys are going to be, some of these senators and stuff and Congress people are going to be on the campaign trail here very shortly.
Yeah.
Because they're on break right now. When they come back from break, they're going on the campaign trail.
Yep.
You are being used. Don't get your panties in a wad, because even if they pass this thing, which they're not going to, because they're just using you. They're just using college football as a political weapon to not do other things. Okay? That's what's happening here. That's why this thing is so absurdly ridiculous. What will they come out with next? What crazy asinine thing are they going to come out with next that makes no sense? 19 teams? Really? You even wait 5 years before you can go into it? That's just dumb.
It is.
It's just dumb, and we all know it. You're being gaslit. You're being used. You're nothing but just forget about it. Just sit back and watch watch how ridiculous these people are. Watch how ridiculous they are. They know doggone well what they're doing. They know doggone well they can't restrict freedom of association. They know doggone well. Don't think that they don't know that.
Well, don't wait, but Ted Cruz, who is well versed in the Constitution, who would love to pass something for the president, he's part of this, part of the mangling of a bill that ain't going to get passed because he doesn't, for whatever reason, he can't get out the number 19 either. So I think it goes, maybe there's always politics involved in this, but I think there is a measure of grievances that is trying to get this bill passed, and they're piling on a bill that should be a lot more slimmer in nature. That is my take on it. But go ahead, finish your call, sir.
No, I think we're on the same page here, Greg. You know, Cruz, I've watched him for years. I don't know that, like I said before, I don't know that much about Cantwell, and I can kind of understand where she might be coming from because, you know, one of their schools got left out. Well, you know what, man, I'm sorry, but, you know, Washington State, as much as I like to watch them on occasionally, I catch a game every once in a while, they're not moving the needle. They definitely don't move the needle for the Big Ten. That's not going to happen. All right, the most they'll ever get is be a scheduling agreement with some of the old Pac-12 schools, which, you know, I think would be good for them and good for what's left of the Pac-12, and it'd be good for the Big Ten. A scheduling agreement, because I would love to see, who doesn't want to watch the Apple Cup, man? When both of those programs are decent, that's a good game, man. You know, it's a rival game. You know, it's who doesn't want to watch? I've watched more Oregon State than I have Washington State, especially when they used to play USC about 20 years ago. They were a real thorn in USC's side. But yeah, you're just being gaslit, folks. This thing isn't going to go. And if they do pass this thing by some, you know, if they, for whatever, do pass it, like I said, thing's going to end up. It's going to end up in the Supreme Court so fast. The Supreme Court's going to be like, "What in the heck is this craziness?" You can't tell these schools that they can't move to another, that they can't associate with this, and especially the Big Ten when they're collecting AAU schools like they're going out of style. You know, I think the caller or two before me was talking about, you know, there's a different standard for that the Big Ten's going by, and yes, that is true. Number one thing over anything else, forget football, basketball, whatever it is, TV numbers, it's AAU first, Big Ten. All right, they're learning institutions, and they're a bunch of research consortium, and that's what they do, and they bring in way more money through that than you're going through any TV contract. That's why they're allowed to. That's why they can do those TV contracts, because they have that money. That any of that money that they're coming in through the TV contract is going straight to the sports and not to anything else. It doesn't have to get reallocated, or, you know, I don't know if they could legally do that anyways. I mean, I don't know all that much about that, but they're AAU. That's the number one. That's why you got Maryland and Rutgers and all those ones that you want to. But anyways, that's all I got to say. And, you know, thanks for taking my call. And go Bucks.
You got it.
Scum sucks.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir.
Call from
William,
can you hold on for just a moment, please?
Yep.
I appreciate it. No, man, breaking news. Attorneys in Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia fully support this bill's passage. Let the lawsuits fly. I believe that Norman is being, he's saying the lawyers want this bill to pass because they're going to have a field day going to court against this bill by capping membership of conferences, by limiting freedom of association. Thank you, Norman. Thank you for the $5 holler. I appreciate your generosity, helping us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Thank you, Norman. Mr. Seminole, appreciate it very much. Go ahead, William, with your phone call.
Hey, Greg. Sorry for calling again, but I actually remembered something that I wanted to touch on with the 19 teams. So with the 19, if they would have said something like 18, you're clearly targeting specifically the Big Ten because the SEC could still get 2 more teams.
Yeah.
So in a way, you're not limiting freedom of association from the SEC. It's being capped somewhat, but they can still go and get Florida State and a UNC, or UNC and a Duke, or Clemson and Virginia, right? Mm-hmm. By doing 19, technically the Big Ten can still get any team they want. They can only just get one. On the other side of the coin, if FSU were to sue, right, they're like, wait a minute, you passed this bill, you have it at 19, the counter argument will be like, well, FSU, you can still join the Big Ten. They have a spot for you. You can still join the SEC. They have 2 spots. But at that point, Big Ten is not picking FSU as its 19th team because they're going to want to keep that spot for Notre Dame. So in a way, I think, because as Petiti said, where did this 19 come from? Maybe it just came, obviously, from Cody Campbell, but it came as a way to limit it and also to protect themselves from being sued, right? Because the Big Ten can sue, but they're not truly limited because they can pick anyone they want. FSU can sue, but they're not being limited because they can still join any conference they want. So the 19 is a way of saying you can't expand because you will choose not to expand. SEC will choose not to only pick 2 teams, although they might pick 2, right? But they'll choose not to want to do it. And FSU and Clemson and any other team that tries to, they might lose because the option is there for them to join these conferences, but the conferences are not picking them. So that's something I just wanted to add, that the 19, in a way, I don't think it 100% protects the act by capping conferences and limiting freedom of association by doing it, but the 19 does it in a way where you can still add teams, and for the teams, you can still join any conference, but the conference is just not going to pick you. So just wanted to share that information. It's the interesting way of trying to, they were getting, where it goes, right? First, the bill has to pass for that to actually be considered.
All righty, sir. Appreciate the call again, William.
Yep. Thank you. All right, bye.
Sorry about William. You were kind of breaking up at the end there. I get what you're saying, William, but I'm not really buying it either, respectively, of course. You're still limiting freedom of association. And so the Big Ten then grabs somebody for 19, and then now they can't grab somebody for 20, and so they go ahead and sue. And also, it doesn't that argument doesn't take into consideration that the ACC can go ahead and expand with the East Carolina, with the South Florida, with the Tulane right away to get to the 18th member, but they can't bring in a West Virginia. They can't bring in a Kansas. They can't bring in a Utah. They got to serve this 5-year independent provision. Who came up with that? Why would you have that in the bill? Who comes up with a 5-year provision to be independent? Who does that? What are we doing? Why are you harming? So in one instance, let's say the bill gets passed as is. You are allowing the Southeastern Conference to expand with 3 more teams. Unless it's UConn or Notre Dame, and it's not going to be Notre Dame, it ain't going to be UConn, those 3 teams have to do a 5-year independent football. Why? Why? Like, somebody give me an answer why. Because if they have to go 5-year independent football, they're going to leave their conference. So you're hurting the conference you're leaving. Anyways, like, what's the point? And you know what the point is? Do you know the motivation is to have the 5-year provision to be independent for 5 years? The motivation is purely grievance. It doesn't protect anybody. It only harms.
From
Mohr Simmons.
Mohr Simmons, the floor is yours.
Greg, once again, I call back and I try to keep things positive with everybody. Anything, but I disagree with this caller because you got to look at the bigger picture. And I'm gonna say this: 5 years, like you just said, 5 years. Nobody in their right mind, no program, will sit there for 5 years independent, and you out of a conference. You're gonna sit 5 years. Now, if you don't have a strong enough brand that you can go out here and make money off of, or have a media outlet that would carry your games, you're killing yourself. You really hurting your program. That does not make sense at all. And yes, again, there's several things wrong with this bill. That's one of. It's major things wrong with that bill. Freedom of association and sitting for 5 years. All of that is in favor of Notre Dame, or you got Connecticut. These schools already been sitting. Okay, so my thing is, people, when you come on here, you got to look at the bigger picture. And you got to step back. Nobody is sitting for 5 years, and I keep saying this. It's a lot of things that you got a lot of bottom feeding schools. I'm not going to say schools. You got people that support these bottom feeding schools, and they don't want to see their school being left behind. So they come on here and they say, well, this is good. It makes sense. 19. I'm like, nobody in their right mind would do 19. You know, I can see 20, I can see 24. But 19, no. And it still hurts. It still hurts the Big Ten. It still hurts the SEC in a roundabout way, even though if they get 3, it's still going to infringe on them from how they want to move, how they want to work. Because to them, that conference is big business. You're going to limit them. Now, let's say the ACC will come around, Big 12, it add. Anything is possible. I mean, anything is possible. But you limiting them two conferences because they run up against the wall. with that number 19, especially Big Ten. It just don't make sense, the whole thing. And like I keep saying, I'm expecting somewhere down the road these conferences going to come together and they're going to say, you know what, let's go ahead and make this move. And we settle everything in court and let the chips fall where it falls. That's it. All right.
Appreciate it, my man. Thank you, Warren Simmons.
Okay.
Beautiful. Metallica, fan one, all it says is have been independent for 5 years, not independent 5 years at the time of the bill being signed. Okay, but that still includes only Notre Dame and UConn. So there really is no difference between either one. Unless I'm missing something. 5 years of independent would kill most schools. Yeah, because you're just not going to get the money. The media partner is not going to give you the money for 7 home games in football. Notre Dame can make it work, but hardly anybody else. Absolutely true. Why is that in the bill? It's just, it's almost like punishing a program for wanting to go to higher ground. We got 182 people. I appreciate all of you. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. Go ahead and give us a call at 763-260-1333. Phone calls supersede all chats. Super chats supersede all chats. Give us a call. Give us a call. Florida State was independent for decades, but I don't think that's going to count. Right? I don't think that's going to count. AFKA North Carolina Chancellor told the Board of Trustees today that the bill can change before the House vote. Sure it can. But they're not. The Big Ten and the SEC are not going to gamble and have a vocal support of the Senate bill unless they can, they're not going to just gamble on the House, in other words.
From
T.F. Williams.
Go ahead, sir. Mr. Williams, the floor is yours.
Hey, Greg. This bill just seems so one-sided. It was written from a one-sided direction. And freedom of association, and that was my first thought when I heard about the bill. How do you restrict someone's movement and keep them from doing that? But then to write it in such a way that you, like you were saying, punish the Big Ten outrightly, and then limit the larger schools from doing what they should be able to do. And while life isn't fair, everyone should be walking from an equal footing. And that's not happening in this bill. And Hal Cruz, who is supposed to be a constitutional scholar, let that get through this bill is beyond. And as an FSU fan, trust me, if we would sue the ACC, we're going to sue for this bill to go to court on.
Yeah. This bill kind of went from protecting to try to ensure equality, trying to ensure balance. I gotta be honest with you guys. This bill is not going to do any of those things. It's not going to ensure equality. It never had a chance to. There is no, it's just the way it is, guys. I don't know what else to say. Florida State, the college team is always going to have more money than Wake Forest. And that's just the way it is. That is just the way it is. Nothing can change that. Florida State is always going to have more money than the University of Minnesota, even though we get more media money. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Ohio State is always going to have way more money than Purdue.
Yeah.
Georgia's always going to have way more money than Vanderbilt when it comes to athletic revenues. Northwestern is always going to be tied, handcuffed, because, and same thing with Minnesota, because they have this incredible high standard for the student athletes. They're not going to change those things. There's programs that have incredible recruiting grounds around the universities. Some don't. You can't equalize all this, especially through a government bill. But that seemed to be the intentions of a Cantwell and a Cruz and a Cody Campbell. But it ain't going to work. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, well, to me, it just seems like, and I understand the hurt that's felt by Washington State and Oregon. If I was in Oregon State, I was in their position, I would be feeling the same way.
Yes.
But as a Florida State fan, when I saw what the ACDC commissioner did was kowtow to a non-football playing member and punish the rest of the conferences who are members in all sports, that triggered the Florida State lawsuit. And then to see the same things now happening where congressional people, senators, are writing a bill that's so one-sided, that just, believe me, that raises the hackles of Florida State and Clemson and Miami and any other school that would like to do better. I mean, FSU has poured money into building itself into a research university, pouring money into it, and to get the AAU membership to be more attractive and put, $700 million in a new football complex and upgrading the stadium. That was all part of trying to make ourselves a more enticing target for larger conferences so that we can play against the caliber of competition we want to play against on a Saturday by Saturday basis. Just like the Alabama-Florida State game last year was the most watched mid-afternoon game in the history up until that point. Mm-hmm. The ratings were through the roof. But that's what every school is trying to do if they want to play in the big leagues. That's just how it is. And that's my thought. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Beautiful call, sir. Beautiful call. Okay. So, I want to get to something here. You remember Nick Kerr. This is the... Hold on, everybody. Hold on.
Call from
Fred?
Fred, can you hold on for a moment?
I sure can.
I appreciate it. I want to get to this very kind super chat from Nick Kerr, and then I want to point out something that I just read. Brian Murphy of WRAL, and then I will get to you, Fred. Is that okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
I appreciate it, sir. Nick Kerr, very kind super chat, $2 holla. Nick Kerr, this is the Protect Texas Tech bill. Wow. Nick Kerr, this is the Protect Texas Tech bill. Nothing in this bill circumvents, tightens up the Red Raiders' ability to use all their cash advantage. Good for them. This bill does not take away that advantage. It doesn't try to equalize all the Big 12 schools that have all the same resources, because that would be absolutely ridiculous. Thank you, Nick Kerr. Appreciate it. Thank you for the $2 holler. I do want to show you guys something here. Very interesting. And before I do, you remember Ross Dellinger's reporting earlier this evening when he said there was a small group of schools This is very important. Very important here. Ross Dellinger reported there's a small group of schools in the ACC that cannot support this bill because of the expansion provision in the bill. He used the word small group. Now we know that one of those schools is not named North Carolina. But there's a twist to that. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Brian Murphy, and he reported this 7 hours ago, but now he's put some context in it 6 minutes ago. Brian Murphy, WRAL. This came when I asked Lee Roberts, the North Carolina chancellor. This came when I asked Roberts specifically about the expansion provisions in UNC possibly being left out of expansion. This was Lee Roberts' statement when Brian Murphy asked specifically about the expansion provisions. Brian Murphy answered, "It's not exactly the way we would write it if we could write it ourselves, but that's always going to be true with comprehensive federal legislation. There's an opportunity as it moves from the Senate to the House to try to revise it further, but I think even as written, it's an improvement on the status quo." So, now we know for sure that small group of ACC schools that is against this bill getting out of the Senate, vote on the Senate, passing in the Senate, that small group of ACC schools does not include North Carolina. Lee Roberts would rather have this bill pass the Senate and then tweak it in the House to possibly change the expansion provision. So, whatever number we're all thinking about, is it 3, is it 4, is it 5? North Carolina is not one of the 3, 4, or 5. Just think about that and let that marinate. Go ahead, Fred. Thank you for your patience. The floor is yours.
Well, I understand what his concept is, that further down the line, the House can change it, or even if it passes, somebody can go to court and challenge it and get that changed. So they may say, hey, we'll just kick that can down the road, hope it gets fixed somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. First of all, for me, the provision of 5 years of independence is going to stop most schools from being able to move to the SEC or the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So even though the Big Ten or the SEC can select more schools with this 19 number, they still are going to have to deal with the fact that you're going to be paying a large fee to get out, and then you're going to have to go another 5 years grabbing money wherever you can.
Yeah.
And I just don't see them doing that.
And you don't know, what are you going to do? You're going to get a 5-year guaranteed from the SEC? So you're going to pay out $100 and some million, or maybe 75 by 2030 if you wait that long, and then you play independence for 5 years. This is going to stop a movement, regardless going to the SEC or the Big Ten. Go ahead, Fred. Sorry to interrupt you.
Right. No, I remember a conversation we had on your show a while back, that we more or less felt like Notre Dame's probably the only school that can go independent at this point.
Yeah.
And Connecticut's doing it, but I mean, significant program.
So, UConn would improve themselves if they joined a conference. Yes. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, with regard to the 19, I'm wondering someday if they will identify the doofus who picked 19. I mean,
that's
anybody who knows college football and scheduling conference games, you don't pick an odd number.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? The ACC this year is going to have different number of teams playing different number of games, conference games?
Yep.
So they weren't really serious, in my mind, with regard to that. I mean, it could have been a placeholder number, and maybe, if it was close, somebody would go up to 20 and, do that. But that was such a dumb number. I mean, both of those, if they didn't have section, 205, they'd have the support of these two conferences.
Yes. Well.
Yeah. I mean, these are two killer, sections that they're just not prepared to change. And okay, but if you wanted a deal so bad, senators, where you needed to go, and it's very clear this is going to be in the bill as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
So, I just don't see that changing. I think, and to me, I know it's important to have the limited protection legally, but in the end, we're still going to have to find out how good that is, because some things are going to be tested in court, and some things may hold because of the antitrust, and the other one or more others may not survive that. So we're not sure what we're going to get there. This whole thing, it's just didn't have a chance. Once the SCORE Act was killed, as you mentioned about the student athletes becoming employees or not. Once that died, I mean, the Big Ten and the SEC were treading water because everybody wanted to add something that would work against the two Power 2 conferences. And from then on, it just didn't really have much of a chance.
Yeah.
And I don't understand giving them to Monday. What's going to change?
I don't know. Maybe a little bit more arm twisting. I don't know, sir. I really don't know. Don't know.
Okay, I got one other question, then I'll let you go. If a school were to try to go 5 years as an independent, that's all of their programs, correct? Not just football and basketball.
I'm reading it as football, because you got to park your other sports somewhere. I really don't know, but I don't know that for sure. I'm reading that as football, but I could be wrong.
Okay. So they could negotiate, like with the ACC, we'd like to have our other teams play for 5 more years before we take them out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Greg. Take care.
You got it. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Whoops. Now listen to this. Pete Knuckles with an article that came out 7 minutes ago on 3. As the Big Ten and the SEC hold on vote, neither of them voted on the bill today. Senators grown impatient over Protect College Sports Act. Now listen to this. The U.S. Senate wrapped up its week on Capitol Hill on Thursday with no signs of the Protect College Sports Act making it to the Senate floor next week. With no procedures initiated to get the legislation to the floor, sources also tell on 3 that the Big Ten and the SEC presidents have not voted on the latest revisions to the bill. Next week is the final week that lawmakers are in session before summer recess begins for the month of August. Whether the bill can advance after the month-long recess is unknown, with midterm elections around the corner. In recent days, a handful of deadlines have been mentioned for the Big Ten and the SEC. The conference's senators look to have backing from to review the final editions of the bill. Sources have told On3 that there is no true deadline set yet, as the bill could still be squeezed into the Senate floor before recess. However, momentum behind the Protect College Sports Act continues to slow as senators wait on the Big Ten and the SEC. At the end of the day Thursday, Senate Majority John Thune had not filed cloture for the bill to be introduced to the Senate floor. With the two conferences deadlocked, frustrations have begun to rise on Capitol Hill. For more than 5 years, leaders from college sports have pleaded with Congress for federal legislation that addressed NIL, preemptive state laws, and provided the NCAA with antitrust protections. The Protect College Sports Act, introduced this summer by Senator Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell, has been the best chance yet. Trump and Cruz are both absolutely furious, a source with knowledge of the negotiations told On3. Sankey is trying to get it done. Greg Sankey is trying to get this bill done. The Big Ten and the SEC have asked for a range of concessions in recent days. Among the concessions that have been made are an additional $20+ million pool for player retention. Entities cannot acquire media rights to create a new conference, and a prohibition of compensation to recruits before enrollment. Sources have told On3 that there remain some voices against the bill in the Big Ten and SEC president's room. The two conferences were not involved in the initial drafting of the bill, and they should have been. Some voices, Pete Knuckles On3, not reporting the majority of voices, he just says some voices are against the bill. Interesting. While Capitol Hill waits on the two power conferences, some athletic directors have spoken out about their distaste for the legislation. Commissioners have spoken openly about a Plan B and a Plan C if the congressional legislation cannot be enacted. Danny White's against it. We've gone through that. Holy smokes. So here we are. Field crew, dirt, Dr. Cheese, you're absolutely correct. Schools cannot afford a 5-year ending run. You know, I'm wondering if, and I'm just wondering, I'm just talking off the top of my head. I'm wondering if those small number of ACC schools that are against this bill because of the expansion provision, I'm wondering if those schools I wonder how impactful those schools can be. I wonder if they can help push Cruz and Cantwell on that number. Very interesting. I do want to thank those who donated to this program tonight. Noel Berman, John Grove, Noel Mann, and Nick Kerr. Thank you guys for your donations. I appreciate it. Helping us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Appreciate it very much. July 30th, Thursday night. We still got 186 people in the chat room. Wow. According to reports, a narrow path still exists for this bill. A narrow path. The Big Ten and the SEC still not in support of the bill. But could that change? Could it change? A little bit tightening of the cap, a little bit more tightening of the possible loopholes, an ability, a way, a process in which you could increase the cap in the years ahead, figure out getting rid of that membership cap number or at least increasing it. Is there enough time? Is there enough space to get this deal done? Obviously, Sankey wants to get it done. So does Petiti, for all the reasons we've said. But it has to be correct, because you're not going to be able to come back to Congress and get the changes needed quickly, or if at all. That's the problem with this federal help. That's why the SEC and the Big Ten were only looking for a skinny bill. Because this bill is going to set precedent. It's going to set the law for so many other things that these conferences did not ask for. And what if it doesn't work? You're not going to be able to go back quickly and get it redone. That's not how it works. That's how it works in a collective bargaining agreement. Or at least you might have to wait a few years to negotiate again. But this, you've got one shot to make this work. And the Big Ten and the SEC are still not on board. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I do much appreciate it. We are going to be coming live tomorrow, Friday, July 31st. Keep your head on a swivel. We're going to be covering this news and other news in college football. We may do our order of finish prediction for the Southeastern Conference next. We've already done the Big 12. We did our official order of finish prediction for the Big 12. I think the Southeastern Conference is on board next. And again, no question about it. Nobody should be questioning. It is Greg the Gold, not Greg the Cold. 2026, Greg the Gold, not Greg the Cold. I can't wait. The football season is almost here. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you keep joining us throughout the whole season. We're going to be doing all these watch parties. We're going to be breaking down all the games. We're going to be doing our aftermath shows. We're going to be crying. We're going to be celebrating. We're going to be singing. We're going to be dancing. And we're going to be curled up in a fetal position. No question about that. So please, if you want to be with us, if you want to be true to us, subscribe and get yourself notified. Ring that notification bell. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family, Golden.